Go ahead.
This is Speakeasy with Cheesemondo on RPO Radio, broadcasting real people's opinions.
Hello everyone, this is indeed RPO Radio. I am Cheesemondo. This is Speakeasy. This is not a debate or bunking show. This is not a debate or a debunking show. This is a legitimate calling show. I really want to hear your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, particularly anything paranormal, supernatural. If you do happen to have a story about Bigfoot, I want to hear it. And any other calls like Frank's UFO experience from last week, especially if more than one person saw it. I really want to hear about it. We almost didn't, as I was saying in the side chat, for anyone who is watching and is in the side chat, we almost didn't have a show today. My cat had a hand in destroying part of the set. I think it's going to hold. If I kill the camera suddenly, it is because it's not going to hold, and I'm slightly worried. There's a few cables and things that make this work up. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but yeah. So we had an awesome show. The last show was pretty awesome. Frank was able to give us some really good first-hand UFO sighting experience. I'm hoping that he's going to call back at some point. And my mute button works today as well. Oh my goodness, this might even be a good show. If it is your first time here, details of how to call are pinned in the side chat. They're also in the description in this video. I would like to talk about whatever you've got. You do have to speak to some kind of robot, whatever a robot is. They'll be invented in a few years, I'm sure. But yes, do call in. We don't make any judgments on here. We're all friends. And the side chat is actually really supportive, and there's a fair few skeptics in the side chat as well, and they're all really open-minded, which is good. It helps make the show. I do want to say hello to, who can I see? Glovermum. Hello, Glovermum. Now Opinion. OK Boomer. And I'm sure there was somebody else in there as well, but I can't quite see who that was. Sorry. I don't have anyone on the lines at the moment. It's been a pretty... Brandon. Hello, Brandon. It's been a pretty quiet week. I've jinked the stream now. I've said so. That's always my worry, is when I say it's... Yeah, I used to say that at work. We weren't allowed to use the word good or quiet, because as soon as somebody said good or quiet, if we said it was a quiet day, the phones would start ringing. And if we said it was a good day, it would go wrong. I was once with a customer... There's no one on the line, so I'll bore you with this. I was once with a customer in London, fairly big contract for the company I was working for, and on site in London in their offices, and we were all talking about how great the contract has been, and I stupidly said there have been no major problems, and no word of a lie, within about 2 minutes of me saying that, somebody came rushing in from the customer side, and everything that we were responsible for it was breaking. So I won't, I shouldn't really use the word good or quiet. OK Boomer says the cat works for me now. If you don't pay up, it will be legs next time. If anybody wants a cat, I'm not... Where is she? No, she's within hearing range. If anybody does want a cat, I can post her. And I'm also looking to do a smoked cat. If anybody's got a smoked cat recipe, I figure she's about £9. She might £9-10. I reckon about... What do you reckon about an hour and a half in the smoker at 275 Fahrenheit? Might be quite tasty. She's quite lean. Might be quite nice. So, how are we all in the side chat? Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, queries, anything that they think we should be talking about? It normally takes a little bit of time for somebody to call in, just by the nature of the show, so you normally have to tolerate me waffling for a bit. I've just noticed an issue with the set that I'm not really massively happy about. So, what is going on in the world today? What are we doing? What is going on? Waffle. I see. I haven't even had breakfast yet. I suppose it's 2 p.m. and I haven't had breakfast. That's not a good thing. But I was busy. Cat tacos taste great. I've never had a cat taco, but I say that, but then there was a bit of a food scandal in Britain a few years ago, where some of the larger supermarkets were selling cheap lasagnas and cheap meat, and it turned out that when they DNA tested it, there wasn't much in the way of beef in them, but there was a lot of donkey and horse. So it turns out that some of the supermarkets in the UK were selling horse lasagna for a while and donkey lasagna, which is pretty good. And if you've ever been down Chippy Street in Cardiff, some of those places you take your life in your hands. There's a terrible rumour about biological substances being found in the chip fat. I'm sure that's an urban myth, but it's something. It is something that I bear in mind when I'm in Cardiff. Although at 2 a.m. if the munchies get you, you're limited on options. Now, opinion. I'm in bed. It's 10 at night, and I should be sleeping, but I'm listening to you, Cheesemondo. Thank you, now, opinion. Always great to see you in the side chat. I do try and do. This show is about as early in the day as I can do it because no one in the US is likely to call in, really, because it's the middle of the day and everyone's working. So it's only bums like myself who don't work that are likely to be around. But this does give me a chance to hang out with subs from Europe, Britain, and there are people around like Brandon and Global Mum, and I'm always grateful to see people from this side of the world. Todd McSweeney said he'll take the cat. How? And it's retired folk, exactly, Frank, and retired folk. But I've been out of work for a while. I'm still waiting. Hello, Colum. I'm still waiting on U.S. immigration paperwork to clear. But with everything going on in the world, there's a bit of a backlog, as you would expect. And what should have been a 120-day process has taken, let's say, 10 months so far. You haven't missed anything, Colum. There's nothing too exciting going on. But yeah, so I will be back in the workforce in the next month. But you never know. The company Findus was selling horse lasagna. Yes, that was it. That is it sounds really, really weird, but it's absolutely true. The company Findus were selling horse lasagna, and that was part of the food scandal in Britain. That's what led to DNA. It was discovered by DNA testing meat. I like the meme where you saw a bunch of horses running with the caption "Run before the." Colon says, "How's the temporal void holding up?" It's doing. I think it's doing okay. We had a few technical issues just before the show went live, where the cat decided that she was going to rework the space and time continuum for me, which would have completely ruined the illusion that I've got. In fact, I can see an odd thing. On the set now. So she was up on my desk as well. So the camera's been, everything was moved. It was horrific. She was climbing and then frightened herself and then ran around like a lunatic for about a minute. So anything that I have purposely lined up or set up to make this work, it was out of place and it just wasn't going to work. Goodness me. So just while there are 11 of you watching, if anybody does want a free cat, I can post her, I can smoke her. I would imagine teriyaki would go nice. Maybe some hardwood cherry pellets. She's pretending to be asleep now. How old is the cat? She's 2, I think. I think she's 2. Maybe a bit older. She was a rescue cat. And she's. If anyone who's just joined is wondering why I am waffling on about my cat and everything else, still waiting on somebody to call in, but I'm quite happy to chat for a bit. I don't mind. It normally takes, from previous shows, it normally takes about 20 minutes or so for somebody to call in, and if they don't, then I'll waffle and wind the show up. But yeah, she's an odd cat. Cat's a good spiritual guardian. I'm not sure she's a spiritual guardian. She's a bit odd. She doesn't really like. I'm in. This set is in the basement of my house, and she lives down here because our housemate's got a cat as well, and they don't get on, the other cat in the house. has got this thing. He just wants to kill her on sight. So she lives down here until the cat moves out in a few weeks. She's fine with me down here. She's all over me, and if she wasn't sleeping, she'd be trying to show you her butt on camera. But if I go upstairs, she doesn't like me. We're not friends, and she won't come near me. It's really weird. So yeah, she's a really weird cat, and she doesn't like hugs or being picked up and things like that. But if you grab her and shake her, like if you grab the scruff and shake the scruff, she'll start purring. So she's a bit of a weird cat. Yeah, she's not too. I'm not quite sure how she got. She's quite damaged. I'm not quite sure how she's damaged, but she is. But she was a rescue cat. I can't believe there are 17 of you watching, and nobody's got a story. Somebody must have a story for me. If I have been pushing this to social media, to various paranormal groups, supernatural groups, all over Twitter. If you are in two minds about calling in, I would suggest just go for it. I'm not out to trick anyone. I genuinely want to hear what you have to say. Cats are our overlords. We just don't know it yet. Is that opposable thumb? As soon as they master that, we're all dead. Rescue cats take a lot of love. We adopted a cat about a year and a half ago, and it took her about a year for it to get close to me. Yes, Daisy was odd because it's my partner's cat, but she when we moved into this house, she went and hid behind the toilet and didn't come out for a day. So eventually I had to go and sit with her in the toilet on the floor and just move up as like closely every 5 or so minutes. I would just move up, and eventually she let me touch her. Multi-tom-tom, I love pussies. I'm going to take that in the feline spirit, but I would imagine that we're not talking about the same thing with multi-tom-tom. But that's cool. Rene Me says people don't own cats. Cats own people. The cats are very much in charge in this house. There's two of them, so we don't really get quite demanding. I find cats. If cats pick you, it's true. Yes, it is. It is kind of true. I am going to while I'm thinking about it, I am going to be running a different show because this one's got its place, but I want to do something a little bit stupider. So what I am going to do is something I'm toying with the idea of the Bad Advice show, and I think it's going to be an open panel show. And the idea being that people call in and give us their real first world problems, and the panel will give them the worst advice that they possibly can. Multi-tom-tom, animals love me for some reason. There is a thing that people think that animals can be a good judge of character, and regardless of some of our beliefs, fundamentally, if you're a good person, I think animals probably pick up on that. Demon Orb, hello. 17 of you watching. If anybody does want to call in, go for it. If not, I am going to keep talking about cats and other things. But yes, so my new show is I'm still working on part of it. I'm trying to do something kick-ass for the intro. But the premise is going to be I'll set up a panel of people beforehand. We'll open the phone lines. People can call in with whatever random issue they want to talk about. It won't be serious advice, and we'll see what the panel comes up with in terms of just bad, shocking advice. I thought it could be quite funny, and there's not really a show like it on the internet at the moment, so we'll give that a go. I thought it could be interesting, and I've got the call-in service anyway, so I figured I might as well use it. Just realised that everything's wrong on the set. And it's annoying me, and I can't fix it because we're live. Now opinions, stay positive. I can't read stuff like that. My brain won't let me read stuff like that. And I ruined one of Ashanti's jokes because my brain doesn't let me read stuff like that. It's birthday today. It's very fortunate that your set didn't break. it would have been a catastrophe. I'm just kidding around. Thank you, No Opinion. Has anyone seen anything weird or paranormal recently? Anything, or even conspiracy-wise, that I probably haven't seen? Is there? We heard a great Russian conspiracy from Now Opinion. I'm going to be putting a clip of that up. Now Opinion, if you wanted to download that and put it on your own channel, you are more than welcome when that goes up. But is there anything I should be thinking of or talking about? There's some still flat Earth debates going on. Mike Bertelson's on with the Shills channel later today. I think it's about 9 p.m. UK time, if my brain works that way. Let's just check. 10 p.m. UTC, 6 p.m. EDT, 3 p.m. Pacific. So that's in a few hours from now. I like Mike Berthelsen. I like the way he talks about things. He can explain things really well. So if anybody is interested in that kind of flat globe type issue, the date on the bottom is 2 days. That's one of the things I noticed that I wanted to fix. And normally I would change everything before I go live, but because I was stood on a ladder, trying to fix things, I am out. But I'm already broadcasting from the 30s. Hello, Woden Toad. I'm already broadcasting from the 30s, so I mean there is a little bit of a delay in the time continuum. I'm a day or two out. It's okay. I can probably fix that if I put my mind to it. The only issue is trying to do this kind of stuff live just ruins the effect. But let's have a look. Woden Toad, hello. A bit under 2 hours. Yeah, it's a bit under 2 hours. I'm not going to run for too much longer. I might run for an hour. It depends if we get calls. If we don't, then we'll wrap this up. And but yeah, look out for Mike Bertelsen later on the shows. He's a nice guy. It should be a good debate. And I think he's against Spokismo. I should have the years on the date be from the 30s. I have toyed with the idea of doing. Did they have water coolers in the 30s? I'm not sure they did. Maybe they did. I'm in the 30s, so yes, they did. But there's a lot on this set that they didn't necessarily have in the 30s. It's not exactly time appropriate. It's as close as I could get it. Is it the 1st of July today? I believe it is. I think it is. Oh, it is, because I'm away this weekend for Independence Day. Always cozy. Always slightly uncomfortable to be in America for Independence Day, being a Brit. It's the last day of my 56 orbit around the sun. Oh, congratulations, Glenn. Are you doing anything on your channel? Are you doing anything on your channel tomorrow, Global Mum, that we should be watching? Is there any kind of celebration, any kind of stream, anything that we can shell out while you're here? And see, there's 14 people watching. If you are watching and you're not in the side chat, jump in and say hello. Still plenty of space on the lines, but if you do want to jump into side chat and throw out a random question for me, especially if you're from one of the groups that I have been sending out on over the various socials, pop into the side chat, say hello, and they're all lovely people. And there's a good mix of people in there as well, mostly all skeptics, I think. Global Mum says, no, I'll be on a stream with Pie Parrot. Hopefully Slim's birthday is tomorrow as well. Just had a video premiere before this. Awesome. And is that on Pip's channel, Global Mum? Just so we all know where to go. Is that roast of you and Slim going to be on Pip's? What's the black line flipping on the screen? That's 1930s TV interference. I'm not, I believe, Angel Shite. Some of us are skeptics and some of us aren't. Boomer says, Global Mum, you're less than 1 Saturn year old. Yes, on Pip's channel. So if look out for a live event on Pie Parrot's channel tomorrow. That'll be a roast of Global Mum and a Slim Moving Cyborg. I think I'm driving to the mountains tomorrow, but if I'm not, I will do my best to be in the side chat at least. Depends what time it is. Awesome. What's the black line? Yeah, the black line is supposed to give that 1930s feel about it, so it's not full HD. A little bit of interference. There was a much more severe effect, but it didn't work very well. If not Pip's, it will be on Slim's. So everyone watch out for Pip's channel or Slim's channel tomorrow, and wish both of them, wish both of Global Mum and Slim a very, very happy birthday. Mondo won't go to the mountains. The mountains will come to Mondo. It should be good fun. I'm just a little bit. I get a bit of a tough time on July 4th around here, especially from my American family. Although I didn't do myself any favors last year, because I did say that I did make a joke and say if Americans couldn't figure out how to run the country better, I'd give the Queen a call and we take it off their hands. Didn't go down very well. Didn't go down very well at all. Don't have a sense of humor about that whole Brit independence thing, it seems. And then I did see a T-shirt a few days ago with the British flag on the a British flag on the front, and it said something like "Happy Insurrection Day, ungrateful colonials" or something like that. It was long that time. In the 30s, we only had Marconi or Wireless. You're lucky to see the black line. There are some things about this show that aren't exactly period appropriate, but I do my best, and it does have to be something visual just to make the damn thing work, because otherwise you'd just be listening to me drone on. Wodentoad says, in the 30s we own... Yeah, I've already read that. Tusk, are you taking a video? I love watching that kind of thing. Both of you. I've got a dash cam. Is that going to make an interesting video? I'm not sure. The dash cam, it doesn't really catch. Hello, sarcastic barman. You've managed to catch me when I don't have any callers. But we're talking about cats, and it is Global Mum's birthday tomorrow, and there's going to be a stream on Pip or Slim's channel. They had Marconi cell phones. Well, if you believe, if you're a Tartaria type person, then there was free energy and wireless things going on way before the 30s. So it all depends on what your worldview is and what you believe. When I went over the mountains, Global Mum says, when I went over the mountains in February, I took some video and put it on my channel. It did okay. I might give that a go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I could always put some little music to it. I don't think anyone's going to want to hear me and the family talk while we're driving. Although it could be quite funny because it's just me and my partner, and my brother-in-law in the car, which normally gets to be quite funny. Barman, Tom would like a pint of Guinness, please. Put that on my tab, please, Barman. And Gosh of Heckfire, good afternoon. Oh, what? Well, oh, Barman doesn't sell Guinness. He does have a stout. Okay, put a pint of stout on my tab for Multi Tom Tom. Just been sent a message. That's no good. Right, I'm going to give this another 4 minutes or so, and then I think we'll call this one a day. It's a weird time of the day. No one in America really wants to call in, and then it's kind of late for the rest of the world. Tusk says, I did a 3-part video of me cycling across Scotland. Nobody watched it, but it was a good day out. Just over 80 miles pedaling in the sunshine. I've seen that on the channel. I haven't watched all of them. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched all of them, but I will. Woden Toad, yes, you're awesome. I know, and I know a lot of you have called in, and this was always going to happen. I was always going to run out of goodwill from friends and subscribers and things like that, and kind of hoping that I could talk people from outside of our group into calling, and Frank was a really good call last week. There we go. Throw that on my tab, Barman. Would I like to hear about ghost friend Desmond? I would. Would anyone watching like to hear Frank's story about his ghost friend? Let's see. Let's see what the side chat says. The problem with skeptics calling, that is exactly it. But I am picking up subs from outside of the government. Says yes, we would like to hear that. And it's a birthday tomorrow. There we go. Oh, Grumpy Old Man Joe, hello. There we go. Okay. Yes. In that case, Frank, if you wanna call in, that would be superb. I think this is the most people this is really funny because this is the most people I've ever had watching while it's live, and 0 in the way of calls. So this is just me talking to myself, or at least talking to you guys. Somebody is calling me in. Excellent. Hypos are a thing. They exactly are a thing. Okay, it's Frank. Now, the robot has misunderstood greatly what Frank was trying to say, and instead of it saying my ghost friend Desmond, it actually says it's Frank talking about my girlfriend Desmond, which again is perfectly fine, but the robot sometimes really gets this wrong, and it can be quite funny. I love it when Woden Toad calls in because it makes it random names for Woden Toad. Okay, Frank, here we go. Let's see if this works. This will be the first call of the day.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, and looks like the internet can as well. Hello, Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I thought you guys might want to hear about my ghost friend Desmond because he has taught me many things that I think people should know that are kind of important.
We took a vote in the side chat. I think you saw it. I think we all want to know. So tell us all about Desmond.
It's interesting how I first met Desmond because I was watching an Art Bell show many years ago. I think it was in 2000. And there was a couple on there that were featuring some EVP recordings that they had made, and I was pretty much out to prove them wrong. That they were just hearing things. It's what's called the pareidolia effect that was going on in their head, and so I went out and purchased some recording equipment, and I went to a few different places. And one of the places I went to was my mother's gravesite. And I stood over my mother's gravesite, and I said, "Mom, this might sound ridiculous, but this machine can hear you if you'd like to speak to me." And I waited for a while, for a reply in the recording, and I can't hear anything with my ears. Anything that I pick up is just through the recording. And so then I went over to my grandmother's grave, and I tried it there. And then I went home and I listened to the recording. And at first I didn't hear anything until I turned the volume way up and listened really carefully to the background noise. And then I started hearing some voices, and I thought, no, there must have been somebody there. So I went back and I told them, I said, hey, I heard one of you say that you needed help. And I heard another one say that I was cute or something like that. And I said, who are you? And how are you able to speak to me through this device? And then Desmond came in, and he told me his name was Desmond. And it's a long drawn-out process to be able to carry on a conversation, because I have to hit the record button and record my question and wait for a response and then rewind it. And you know how that goes?
I do, but just for anyone who doesn't know what an EVP is, could you just tell everyone what that is?
Yeah, it's an electronic voice phenomena is what it's called, and it was discovered many years ago that using any type of a media that you can record on, you can even record the voices of the dead on a hard drive of a computer. I've done that, and digital voice recorders, or the first things that they were using were wire recorders, I think, when they first started doing it. And then I didn't know until not too long ago that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone to talk to his dead wife, that was one of the first EVP devices. Did you know that?
Is that true?
I heard, that's what I had read somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not, but I read it in some paranormal journal that I was reading some time ago.
Okay.
But anyway, you can record the voices of the dead on various types of media. They can come through. And because the dead people don't have a larynx, a voice box like humans do, well, how they're able to communicate with us is by manipulating the ambient noise around us. Like they'll take the buzzing noise of a fan, or what's called white noise. You can generate white noise. It's like a hissing sound, or even the noise of traffic, like on a freeway. I've been able to pick up some really great voices of just the how they. It's interesting how they can manipulate the ambient noise that's around us to create words. And a lot of times their voices don't even sound human. Sometimes they sound robotic, or they're too fast, or they're too slow. They're so slow sometimes that you can't hear them, the way that the words are stretched out. So it takes a lot of practice to be able to understand what's the process and what's going on to hear a lot of them. Oh. And a lot of times most people that I share my recordings with can't hear them. But some really good examples of these recordings you can find at the Ghost Hunter Society website is a good one, the GIS. If you look those people up, look up their website, right there on their front page is a link to that'll get you into some of their recordings that are very fascinating. But anyway, when I started talking to Desmond, I realized at some point that he was telling me that, or he was answering my questions before I asked them. As I'm making the recording, before I even asked the question, he's laying down the answer. And so I asked him, I go, Desmond, how are you able to answer my question before I ask it? And he told me, he said, because I don't exist in time like you do. They are not bound by time like we are, and they can to a certain extent move within that timeline that's close to where you are within a few minutes time. And that really excited me when I heard that, and I'll tell you why later. But and then he taught me other things about like where he was and why he was where he was. Because when he first contacted me, he needed help, and I said, "Why do you need help? What's going on?" And he said, "Well, I can't get out of where I am." And I said, "Well, where are you?" And he said he didn't know. And I said, "Well, what does it look like where you're at? Can you see any light or any structure?" And he said, "No. Sometimes he can see a little color, and but that was about it. And well, after some time of meeting him at this particular place, then I finally decided that I thought he was safe to take into my home. I didn't want him to know where I lived, and but I invited him to follow me home, and then I started some real serious experiments, like testing him, like, can he see me? Can he see me, or is there a way that I can see him? And there's another way that you can do this with what's called video ITC. It's a I can't remember what it stands for exactly. It's instrumental transcommunication is what it is. And you can actually use a feedback loop by using a camera pointed at the TV screen to create that like infinite effect that you get in a mirror. And then once you get it to the point where it starts to flip and flip over on itself, it creates an avenue where they can sculpt images in the energy on the screen. And this was only with the older CRT screens. I don't think you can do it with the new modern television screens. It had that scanning electron dot. You know what I mean?
Okay. Can I just jump in there just before we carry
Sure.
on? So you found Desmond in an EVP while you were at your mum's grave.
Right.
How were you able to firstly, you already touched on the auditory pareidolia thing. So how would you differentiate between auditory pareidolia and Desmond being a real
the fact that he's answering my questions. He's being specific to what I'm referring to when I talk to him.
And
if it was pareidolia, I don't think I could pull that out. Those kind of responses.
Okay, and when you get those answers, are they one word? Are they detailed? Are they?
They're short. Yes, they're very short sentences or single word replies. Yes.
But sometimes it is a more of a sentence than a single word.
Yes, like when he told me that he doesn't exist in time, like we do. You know.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, go on, carry on. I just wanted to just pull out some of those threads I was thinking about.
Yeah, I understand, and that's good that you ask questions, because the only stupid one is the one you don't ask.
Exactly.
You know that, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, where was I? So anyway, Desmond was lost, and he wanted me to help him, and I didn't know how to help him. And I told him, I said, because you're spirit, the only thing I can do for you is pray for you and pray that maybe other angelic or heavenly hosts may guide you, in your journey and in your wherever you are. Because but then I learned from the GIS that spirits like Desmond are what's called earthbound spirits, and for some reason these are spirits that stay here. They can't move on, and either because of unfinished personal business or for some reason they feel they need to stay here. And but there was no reason. I couldn't determine that. And but I was able to get other information from Desmond. Like he told me where he went to school. He went to Fresno State. He told me his girlfriend's name and phone number, who I tried to call, but the phone kept coming back saying there was a recording that kept saying that the person you're trying to reach isn't available.
Wait,
but I could never get through to that phone number.
Wait, so sorry, Frank. I've got to jump, because that's impressive. So he gave you details of a girl, and she was still alive. So
not really details, just her name and phone number.
But that's quite specific.
Some details, but not too many.
That's beyond beyond just saying yes, I have a girlfriend. That's actually
right.
giving your phone number. That's pretty impressive.
Uh-huh.
So were you able to find? Have you tried to find Desmond in real life? Then have you been able to track him back to a college or a school?
Yes, I have. I mean, I've tried to track him down. Because he said he went to Fresno State. I checked with the alumni, and they weren't able to pull up anybody with that name. and I haven't heard of anybody. I mean, I've did the best I could on like people searches and the internet and stuff like that, and but I haven't been able to actually find him. One time when I got a glimpse of him when I was doing an ITC experiment in my TV screen, and he looked as if he come from a period, I want to say right around 1910, because of the clothing that he was wearing, the type of collar that he had on. He was wearing a bowler hat, the way his mustache was trimmed. There was just certain things about him that said, no, he's a lot older than what he told me, than what I had thought. Apparently he's been there a very long time wherever he's at.
Okay.
But
but he was able to give you a modern. So he appeared to be. I guess I appear to be from about the 30s. That's by design. But he appeared to be from like 1910 then. But gave you a modern phone number.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of strange because during the period when he was, according to the way he was dressed, what I saw of him, and that may be from his what they call soul family, his a higher or a different part of his soul, from a different period of time. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or anything like that, but he appeared the way he wanted to, and I guess he liked that particular type of clothing when he appeared to me. I didn't see all of him. I only saw him from about the waist up. I didn't see what kind of pants he was wearing or shoes. That would have told me more.
Okay.
But and it was very brief, and it took a lot of time for me to explain to him. It took hours and hours of sessions to even get him to do this, to try to manipulate the phosphor on the screen. And but he taught me a lot of other things, especially in the time thing. Like he's able to predict my future out to a certain point, but it was only like within 10 or 15 minutes. He would tell me, I was going to have a visitor, or he could predict things that were going to happen in the immediate future. And so my goal at that time, once I discovered that, was to try to get him to go beyond the time that he was constrained, because I wanted him to go out to at least an hour so I could get those lottery tickets. You know what I'm talking about?
we've seen that. We've seen that. I've seen that in the side chat. People have Multi Tom was saying get the lottery numbers. Now that would be the ultimate proof.
Right.
If you could get 6 numbers.
That's exactly. Once I realized he wasn't bound by time and he could go into the future a little bit, I spent hundreds of hours showing, because he was actually able to tell me what it was I was pointing at on a computer screen. That he's able to see what I'm looking at. And that was interesting, too, how I discovered that. Like one day I just reached into my pocket and I grabbed my lighter and I said, can you tell me what I have in my hand? And his reply was a torch. And I thought, no, he must have saw it or something. So I reached in my desk and there was a $1 bill in there, and I grabbed it and he said, what do I have in my hand now? And he come back right away and told me, he says, it's money. And so I know he could see my environment, or he can sense what I'm sensing somehow. So I discovered that he could see a computer screen. And once I discovered that, then I showed him how to get to the lottery headquarters, to where the machine is, where the balls fall, and so that he could go into the future and during that time and come back and tell me what those numbers were. But it took a long time, and then I'd say it took over 9 hours of constantly talking and pointing and talking with him and making sure he knew where he was going, because he's flying like an airplane would. When he's going somewhere, he that's how he kind of gets his bearings, because he doesn't know where Iowa is. I had to show him on the map. But anyway, when he was ready, I told him. He said he was ready, and I said, okay, go ahead. And he said that he went there and back and got the information within 20 seconds. Isn't that incredible?
Are you about to tell me that you've been made a millionaire by a ghost?
No.
Damn it.
No, what happened is in the United States we have a couple different lotteries. We got the Powerball and the Mega Millions, and somehow I got it mixed up, and I sent him on the wrong night when I sent him over, and but so when he came back with the numbers, I got my lottery ticket with those numbers, and then I waited until the draw, and then I checked the numbers, and they were wrong. So I asked him, I started another session, and I go, Desmond, the numbers were wrong. How did you get it wrong? And he said, I saw those balls fall out of the machine, and those were the numbers that were on them. He said that those were the numbers. And then it dawned on me what happened, because when I went to go check the results, it said on the ticket that it hadn't been drawn yet. So I thought, I sent him on the wrong night. So what did he see? Come to find out, what he saw was the practice draw. That every night before the lottery, the night before, they pick one of the machines at random and they test it. And that's what he was watching.
That's disappointing. You must be disappointed in that.
Oh, I was, and especially because it took me so long to get him to do that the first time, and to ask him to do it again. I started having this moral dilemma, because here he needed my help, and I was taking advantage of him. And I really wanted to kind of help the guy after a while. And so you know what I did to send him on his way was when my an aunt of mine passed away. And I knew my aunt, and I knew that she was going to go to a higher realm. She wasn't going to stay here on Earth. And so I said, look, I know she's going to move on like within 3 days. So you got to stick with her. And when the light appears for her and she goes and walks toward the light, you just follow her right into the light. And sure enough, right after her funeral, I have never been able to hear from him again. I don't know, he just disappeared. And I hope he's in that higher realm.
That's quite sweet. Somebody's asked Facty's watching. He's just asking who's speaking. So his name's on the screen. His name's Frank, and he's talking about his ghost friend Desmond. So you think you were able to help a trapped spirit on this plane of existence into the next life?
I believe that it's possible. I believe that we have the power to be able to do that. I believe that we're gifted in ways that Scripture says is just above the angels, in some ways.
Okay. And when you wanted to talk to Desmond, how do you, is that something you would did it just happen? Do you have to do any kind of?
Oh no, it didn't matter where I was at any time of the day or night, and I was a long haul truck driver for like 20 years. And even driving down the freeway at 55 miles an hour, I could flip on my digital recorder and go, "Hey, Desmond, you here?" And he'd come back. It's amazing. He could even follow me around the country.
That's quite cool. Do you have? Are you able to still do it? Is that something you could reproduce? Do you have anyone else that you speak to currently? Is that something you can reproduce?
No, because after I did some more research, what I discovered was that once these spirits on the other side, and they're not just human spirits, so there's also alien spirits and other types of entities that exist around us, what the Scripture calls principalities and powers in the heavenly realms, and they are out there. And normally we can't sense them or feel them, but once you become in tune to that, and they know that you're in tune to them and you can sense them and feel them or talk to them, then things start to go awry. They can start influencing you in ways that I was shocked to discover one day. Actually, I had a problem with sleep apnea at one time in my life, and somebody said I snore too loud. So I did a recording session one night with me just to hear myself snore, because I can't hear myself snore when I'm sleeping. So I turned on a recorder, and the next morning when I woke up and I listened to the recording, it shocked me so bad of all the EVPs in that recording that were using my snoring sound. Remember I said they use the ambient noise around us, and they were using my snoring sound to talk to me and put subliminal suggestions in my mind, and it was like, no, I can't have this. So I haven't been messing around with that stuff. ever since Desmond left. I've pretty much left it left it behind me, and I have better things to do with the living than messing with the dead.
Yes, that would make sense. Prioritize the living people. Now you've called in before about UFOs, so we know that you're and you've had a UFO experience. So you are, I would guess, you would say you were a believer.
Yes, a believer, an experiencer.
Experiencer would be a good
like
way.
They say,
okay.
Seeing is believing, But I wish it would have been more than just seeing, I mean, I wish there would have been some kind of communication, because I'm so tired of that, where they just hang around and watch, and they don't do nothing. They're not. They're like, I heard you. You were talking to some woman on another one of your episodes I listened to the other night, and she was talking about that. It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Vishanti, we were talking about intergalactic spring break aliens, I believe, just turning up to prank us.
Yeah. They're just a bunch of trolls. They're not here to do anything, just watch us and focus in the butt every now and then.
Yeah.
What are they here for?
Just here to just turning up. That's what it struck me as. Is
they're bad tourists, is what they are.
Just turning up and poking fun at the humans for a bit. There's so where was I going with this? I went to UFOs for a reason, and it's gone on my head because I've got sidetracked by intergalactic spring breakers. You talked about alien spirits for a second then, based in script. You said something from scripture. Now I didn't quite catch what you said. It was something about principality something.
Oh yeah. It's in. I believe it's in the book of Acts. It talks about the principalities and powers that exist in the heavenly realms.
And to you, that is.
And I also noticed in the scripture when it says realms, it just doesn't talk about. It's not realm. It's realms with an S. There's more than one. And
so, you think that could that be? I'm not saying you think this. What am I trying to say? It's possible then that there are alien worlds who can communicate with us via spiritual means, or is that me putting words in your mouth?
Well, I've never really thought about that because I wasn't communicating spiritually when I communicated with them. I was communicating through a digital recording device.
Okay, change the word spiritual to physically communicate with us.
Yes, they can. Yeah, I believe they can. I've heard of other people. I can't name names right off my head because the older I get, I've been having this memory problem I've been dealing with recently.
It gets to all of us. I can't remember what I did yesterday most days.
Right.
I have seen some video of people who claim to be channeling alien
but they do that naturally. They don't use
that.
equipment like I do.
Yeah,
that's a great gift.
That idea that you could communicate with another, what did you say, another realm, an alien realm, is quite interesting. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in the side chat are asking, do you still have any of the recordings or any artifacts that you could share?
Well, I don't have the technology to pipe it down the phone line. I mean, and if I and not just that, but it's on a CD that's in a safe that's hard to get to right now. I have some archives of when I was doing that kind of stuff. But it's all on CDs, MP3s, and to be able to pull those out and get them to work and play them over the phone line, I don't have that technology.
Okay. If somebody at home was going to try and do this for themselves, if they wanted to kind of try and reproduce what you're doing, how would we go about it? And are we going to be spending a lot of money to do it? Is this something we can do on the cheap?
Oh, no, not at all. Actually, the cheaper the digital recorder, the better, because the cheaper ones have a lot of digital background noise in them. Or even just the old tape player, or tape recorder would work. Use blank tapes though. Don't record over something that's already been recorded over, because you can still get the bleed through. But I like my little digital IC recorder. I think I paid $19 for it at Walmart, and it records for like 100 hours or something like that. And it at 44 kilohertz, which is like CD quality.
And then do you just play that back? Do you need to process it in any way?
I was at first, until I developed my ear, because once you understand what they sound like and what to listen for, then you don't need the software I was using. I can't remember what I was using. I think it was Odyssey or something, but it had a bunch of filters in it where I was able to boost the amplitude and really bring it off the because it's a very subtle energy that they use, and I hear it, and it's amazing the things you can hear them in. I've even heard them in voices in birds chirping, when I slow down the recording and listen to the actual bird chirps, they turn into words, and so it's an interesting. It takes a little bit of developing, a little bit of time to develop the ear to be able to know what to listen for, and how to listen. It's about being patient and quiet and knowing how to talk to them. You got to be respectful. Whenever you talk to them, because you don't know who you're talking to. It's just you make yourself available. Is basically what you're doing. Is you just make yourself available to communicate with. That's how I went about it, and I don't know any other better way to do it. But when I start a session, it's always, my name's Tony. I can hear you with this device. If you'd like to speak with me, you're more than welcome to. I'm willing and ready to learn how I can hear you better. If you can teach me, please do that. That kind of a thing. And once you learn how to communicate with them and talk to them, you'd be surprised what you can pull out of a recording. And a lot of people think that you got to go places where there's dead people. No, that's not the case. The best places to go to get really good EVPs are where there's lots of people. Like I used to have a farmer's market where I used to live, and if I went down the street that was adjacent to where the farmer's market was, one block over, and just walk down that street, I get all kinds of EVPs just walking down the street. And or amusement parks. If you get out into the parking lot, or away from the people, so you're not recording people voices, but you're somewhere around a large crowd, like standing outside of a stadium, or in a large car park somewhere, and it's an amazing thing. Once you get into it and you discover them and you start listening to to some of the things they have to say, or some of it can be rather disturbing too. So you also have to have a certain amount of personal spiritual guidance, I might say. Okay. Where you should be praying for protection, and you should never, and if any of them ask you to let them in, never let them do that, because you don't know who they are. It's like and it's just a fascinating technology. You can actually hear when they open the conduit. There's a clicking noise in the recording. There's a pop, and it's almost as if there's something a veil that they crossed over to open up what they call the conduit. I've heard that term used before. You can hear that conduit open and close. It's just fascinating.
And when you said slow down the recordings, is how slow? As say with a bird chirping, how slow would that have to be? Kind of 50%, 20%?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. It's been several years since I did that, but a lot slower than, I'd say, 25%.
Okay. Yeah. And is it something, if I wanted to investigate that for myself, is that something I could do? Is that something I could do live?
People do. Like look at Huff Paranormal. He develops these ITC devices that are just phenomenal. Huff Paranormal is on YouTube, And if you really want to learn how to communicate with the dead using equipment like that, or like I had, or that Huff uses, but Huff develops his own equipment, and he's really talented at it.
Cool. It is 3 p.m. The barman has got the sarcastic barman's got a premiere coming up. So I think I'm going to wrap this show up. Sorry, Frank, because I'm already.
Sounds like a plan. I got to get dinner started.
Awesome. I'm at the hour. Thank you so much for calling in again. Always great to speak to you. And that was a really good call. That was really interesting. It's in my head now to try that out live on a show and see if I can do the EVP live. But I will look into it.
Yeah, check out Huff Paranormal. He's the guy that I look up to, and who I think if anybody really gets into it, they should do it the way he does, with love, compassion, understanding, and being respectful. That's the way he does it.
Awesome.
All right, man. Have a good night. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Frank. Goodbye. And there we go. That's all I've got. I am going to call that one good. I didn't realize how long I've been talking to Frank, but thank you so much for calling me, Frank. I might try out an EVP. I'm going to look into it a little bit more and see how it'll work. But we might give that one a go on. We might give that one a go. Barman has got a premiere coming up, so if anyone wants to throw the link to that one in the side chat, I would appreciate that greatly. And then check out the shows later on tonight. Mike Bertelson and I believe it's Spookismo are going to be debating the shape of the Earth. And thank you to all of you that were watching. There we go. Sarcastic Barman's throwing a link in the side chat for his premiere. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you all so much for watching. And do me a favor, share this with somebody in your family or your friends group that is a believer and does have if they've got a story to tell, and give them the address of this show or one of the videos, and they can call in anytime, and we'll try and see what their experiences are. I'm going to stop talking. All 19 of you, 13 likes, thank you very much. Give it a like on the way out. If you could leave a comment as well, I would greatly appreciate it. Share it, and thank you to everyone for watching. Goodbye.